All right, so for this video, I just want to talk about the fact that it's okay to be angry at things in general, right? This is a bug that I've seen in my system recently that I've just figured out just now. Actually, just before recording this video, just before hitting record, right now, I just figured out that there's a bug in my system that I think it has to do with a lot of brainwashing as a child. It has to do with a lot of school stuff. It has to do with a lot of like the way that I was raised. As I realize that this realm, this prison planet, will sort of punish outward displays of anger. It'll punish righteous anger, and you have like this thing, in the prison planet, which is that if you get angry at evil, if you get angry at things, if you have opinions about things eh, in the prison planet, if you criticize things in the prison planet, if you criticize like mainstream religions, if you say, oh, okay, like why do, like with Christianity, like why do I need to worship a guy who demands that you cut off your foreskin? Why do I need to why do I need to worship like a Jewish zombie, right? If you criticize, and here's the thing, I have esoteric spiritual beliefs, right? I have very schizo beliefs, right? I'm not an atheist. I had a phase as an atheist, but I'm not an atheist, okay, right? But if it's stuff like that where it's like if you criticize the religion of your parents, if you criticize the school system, people will just tell you to just shut up and deal with it. And I remember whenever I was going to school, I remember I got bullied a lot in school, and I remember my parents would tell me to not get into fights because I would get in trouble. Even and that's what one of the biggest sort of betrayals of this realm, of this prison planet, is that people will tell you that it's not okay to be angry. People will tell you that you're just supposed to deal with things and to just roll over and expose your belly to all the evil things that happen in this world. And if you criticize, for example, like if you look at like the drag queen story time stuff, where it's like you have like bearded ladies dressing up as demons and try to talk to 6 year olds about butt sex in the library, right? You have like oh, okay, we're going to educate children about diversity. We're going to culturally enrich children, right? So it's like if you criticize that stuff, people will hit you with the dude, just let people enjoy things, man. Just let people enjoy things, like live and let live, man. Why do you have to why do you have to be so negative, right? Why do you have to be so? And that's one of the things that drives me up the walls. Like, why do you have to be so negative? Just live and let live. Just let people enjoy things. It doesn't affect you personally. How does it affect you personally? Right? There's so much gaslighting in this realm, especially to young men. I think this is a guy thing too, because guys are the ones who have the righteous anger. Guys are the ones who have like that sort of God of War sort of Kratos anger, and they're the ones who punish evil. By and large, guys are the ones who fight evil and punish evil, because they're the one. Because yeah, I realize this about myself, is that anger is an emotion that I have a lot of, and excuse me, and whenever I get angry at things in the world, I notice that, and I've talked about this in a previous video where I've noticed that I've been sort of brainwashed by the algorithms into like sort of censoring my own inner monologue whenever I notice patterns, whenever I have certain opinions about things, and people people say, oh, that's not acceptable to say. You're not supposed to say that. So I notice that that's a subtle thing that I think is built up over my entire life, where it's like you're not allowed to say certain things, you're not allowed to criticize certain things, because you'll get punished by the social hierarchy if you criticize certain things, if you call out certain things, and if you express your angers at certain evils in the world. Like if you say, oh, okay, what about the influence of the Israel lobby in the United States? If you ask like the Jewish question, right? People will get mad and they'll call you an anti-Semite and they'll call you this and that and the other, right? If you talk about, like all of the socially, unacceptable things. If you talk about, like black crime statistics, right? Like I've had personal experience, like all the stereotypes about, um, you know, like black people, for example. Like I've had many encounters with those stereotypes in school, right? And a lot of the bullying that I've encountered, bullying of all races. Okay, like there's different flavors of evil, there's different flavors of shittiness among race, right? But I've encountered many stereotypes that are real, and people convince you that we're all blank slates, and that we're all like, oh, there is no, like stereotypes are just just mean things created by people who are bigots, because they're just mean and bigots. But no, like stereotypes are patterns that exist among groups, right? If a random Indian guy calls me and asks, and he thought like this, and he asks for my credit card number, I'm not going to give it to him, right? Does this mean that I have a vitriol and a hatred for Indian people? No. It just means that I have pattern recognition, right? And so you talk about stuff like that, and it is very much like it makes me think of like the symbolism of the Matrix is that you have people who see reality versus people who refuse to see reality. They refuse to see certain unpleasant truths and certain unpleasant realities about this realm. And so one of the things that they do is they punish noticing, they punish pattern recognition, they punish noticing first of all. But second of all, one of the things that they do is that they punish anger. They punish righteous anger specifically, which is that you're not allowed to be angry, especially as a young man, especially as a guy. Like you're not allowed to be angry at things. You're not allowed to talk about certain evils in the world. You're not allowed to do this, that, and the other because you should just let people enjoy things. And if you don't, and if you call out the evil and the wickedness that's in the world, then you're just a bigot, and you're just you're just like you're like Ebenezer Scrooge from the Christmas Carol. You're just a Scrooge. You're a Grinch, and you're just a mean negative person, right? And that's the thing, like yet again, like the title of this video, the thing that I said at the beginning of this video is that it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be a quote unquote negative, you know excuse me, it's okay to be a quote unquote sort of negative person when it comes to this. But it's not even that you're being negative, it's that you're being realistic, you're acknowledging reality. And and this is related to a lot of new age sort of beliefs where a lot of new agers will say that oh, you should just think positive thoughts. Don't think any negative thoughts. You shouldn't judge. Don't be so judgmental. You shouldn't judge. You should get out of your ego. Right? You should attain ego death, and you shouldn't judge anything. Right? You shouldn't be. Which is what they're doing is that they're essentially telling you to stop discerning. They're trying to tell you that you're not allowed to discern things. You're not allowed to use your powers of pattern recognition, of discernment, of seeing certain of using your sense of good and evil in this reality, using your sense of pattern recognition, using your sense of reality. Like you're not allowed to acknowledge reality, you're not allowed to call out reality, you're not allowed to say the quiet part out loud, you're not allowed to get angry at evil because that means that you're a bigot, and you're a racist, you're a misogynist, you're this, that, and the other, like what you're anti-Semitic, or like whatever label that they want to place on you. Like they'll call you all these different names, and I've talked about this in a previous video, which is that the normies and the NPCs, they don't care about whether or not what you're saying has truth in it. They don't care about the truth. People nowadays, they don't care about the truth. They don't care about whether or not something is true. They don't care about whether or not something has facts in it. They don't care about whether or not something is reality. Well, all they care about is whether or not what you say is acceptable to say, quote unquote. Whether or not it's quote unquote acceptable to say, or how much virtue signaling there is inside of it. Like, that's all people care about. And people want you, like the people who are evil and running this reality that want to destroy you, right? That they want people to be neutral. They want people to be lukewarm. If you want to put it in a biblical sense, right? That they want people to be lukewarm. They want people to be fence sitters. They want people to be, Joe Rogan, middle of the road. They have every popular opinion. They have every safe opinion, and they shy away from all the hard stuff, all the stuff that's hard to talk about, all the stuff that no one wants to talk about, right? All of the hard things that the modern sort of neoliberal establishment says that, oh, you're not allowed to talk about it, you're not allowed to say this, you're not allowed to say that, you're not allowed to talk about this certain reality, you're not allowed to talk about Israel, you're not allowed to talk about crime statistics, you're not allowed to talk about certain realities. You're not allowed to question the mainstream religions because it would hurt people's feelings and it would hurt people's perception of reality, right? And so that is one of the things that I've noticed is, yet again, it's a bug in my system that I've sort of caught, is that I've noticed that a lot of us have been brainwashed into being into suppressing our righteous anger, where that oh, you're not allowed to be negative. It's almost like there is no war in Bossing say, right? Just smile, just be happy and just smile and ignore the negative, and get off the internet, chud. Get off the touch grass, right? Like you're not allowed to acknowledge certain realities. You're not allowed to talk about certain realities. You just have to ignore the negative and just keep smiling. Just keep a smile on your face and pretend like nothing's happening, right? Which is exactly how evil spreads. This is exactly how evil spreads. This is exactly how evil people get a foothold in everything. Is that they punish criticism of evil. They punish truth tellers. They punish people who want to discuss the truth. They punish people who call out certain realities, and they punish anger. Yet again, like especially young men. This is like a mostly a guy thing, because like they punish outward displays of anger in guys. They punish self-defense in schools. They punish, people who, are angry about certain evils in the world. And you have, and this is also like a normie thing too, which is like this obsession with this obsession with like fake positivity, which is that like if you talk about stuff that's like negative, or if you when I say like stuff that's negative, if you talk about stuff that's uncomfortable, or if you say any of your actual opinions, if you're not beating around the bush and sugarcoating stuff, right? If you're no nonsense, straight to the point, that like, oh, one of the things that normies will do is like, oh, you're being so negative, stop being so negative. Like, you're being a negative person. You got to be more positive. That's not nice to say. You got to be more nice. Like, fuck your nice. Fuck your niceness. Fuck your like your fake positivity. Oh, you have to be nice. You have to be cordial. You have to this obsession with with this obsession with manners, like, oh, like this idea that like people's feelings matter more than the truth, like people's, like having like like you have to have manners and you have to be cordial and you have to you're not allowed to say the truth, you're not allowed to speak the truth, you're not allowed to do any of these things because they would offend people, and oh, you're being a negative Nelly, you can't talk about that, and this is like sort of a normie NPC sort of behavior, which is that they love pretending like everything's all right, they love pretending like everything's fine even though it isn't, they love pretending like even though the world's on fire, it's like, oh, it's like that comic of the of the dog where it's like, oh, it's like everything's fine and like the cafe's on fire. um I'll probably find that image and like put it on like the thumbnail or whatever. Is but yet again, it's like that dog, sitting in the cafe and everything's on fire, and it's like, oh, everything's fine. It's like that's the thing that the system teaches you is it teaches you that you're not supposed to be negative, you're not supposed to be angry. Don't be a negative Nelly. You're being a negative person, right? Like you're being rude. You're being mean. You can't say that. You can't say it in that way, right? Which is yet again like the punishment of outward displays of anger and the punishment of righteous anger. It's okay to be angry. Like, if you're in this world and you're not angry at certain realities of this world, then there's something wrong with you. Good people who are like people who are good are not neutral, right? The people who are good are not lukewarm. So if you want to be, a good person, if you want to be an upstanding person, if you want to be, a spirit, if you want to be a righteous person, that's a really good word. I like that word, righteousness, right? If you want to be a righteous person, right, you have to be polarizing in your beliefs. You have to be polarizing in the things that you say. You have to not sugarcoat realities just because people have like because people have like this pearl clutching attitude that if you say something that's out of line, if you say something that's negative or offensive, you can't say that. Oh my god, oh my goodness, you can't talk about that. Like anything that's outside the Overton window that people don't want to talk about, like that pearl clutching bullshit of like caring more about manners and people's feelings and whether or not you said it in an offensive way. Like, no, fuck your feelings, fuck your, fuck your, whatever manners or whatever, like whatever, decorum, right? That you think is more important than the truth, right? It's about the truth. It's not about your truth, my truth, his truth, in that sort of new agey sense. It's not about oh, let's talk about our feelings and oh, you should, like, I don't want to be a mean person, but like no, like if and I think that there is like a really good quote that I remember, which is that if it can be destroyed by the truth, it deserves to be destroyed by the truth. So if people's emotions or feelings or people's views of reality, or if people's viewpoint of view, if people's fake friendships with you, or if people being nice to you, if all that gets destroyed by truth telling, it deserves to be destroyed by the truth. Anything that can be destroyed by the truth deserves to be destroyed by the truth. And yet again, it's okay to have angst. It's okay to have anger. It's okay to be angry at the things that are evil in this world. You don't have to be a positive person all the time. You don't have to be, like, oh, you have to be happy and you have to, to be positive, and you have to be, put on a fake smile all the time. Like, no, it's okay to be quote unquote negative. It's okay to be quote unquote, oh, like a negative Nelly. It's okay to be that if it's the truth. Right? And oftentimes the truth is uncomfortable. And so the truth is going to be quote unquote negative. It's going to be quote unquote, oh, you're being a negative Nelly. And it's going to be like, oh, you're such a negative person. Oh, you're such an angry person. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to be angsty, right? A lot of that sort of, angst that I had, as a teenager, I think I need to start regaining that, instead of just being like, oh, I just have to, ignore the negative and just focus on the positive, which is a very new age sort of, ignore reality, dig your head in the sand kind of a thing, right? And yet again, I've noticed that this is a bug in my system, which is that, I've been, I think, programmed through the majority of my childhood and through the school system to make me think that it's not okay to say things. It's not okay to be angry. It's not okay to, say certain things because it'll offend people, and, like, my parents will get mad and my sister will get mad and, like, the students around me will get mad, and if I say certain things that are true, or if I say certain things about what I think, if I have, my unfiltered thoughts, on full display, if I say what I really think, like, and this is the thing also, is like saying what I really think often gets punished whenever I'm around people. Like saying what I really think about things is often punished, because people have that sort of, pearl clutching reaction that, oh, that's negative, you can't say it like that. Like, and you're not allowed to say that. You're not allowed to be angry. You're not allowed to have this, this and that emotion, and that is part of the sort of almost like the rape of the human mind in school, and in the way that, people are raised in this sort of, mass open air prison, is that, people gaslight you into thinking that you're not, like, that all the emotions that you have and all the things that you think, and your completely normal reaction to the evils of this world, that, like, oh, like you're not allowed to feel anger, you're not allowed to have those emotions, because that just means that you're an angry person, and you need to take pills because you have a chemical imbalance in the brain if you go to the psychotherapist, right, to get, to get diagnosed for a disorder. It's not that, society is shit and that you have a normal reaction to it. It's actually, oh, you need pills because, like, you're having emotions that you're not supposed to have, right? But I'm here to tell you, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be angsty, it's okay to be, quote unquote negative, if you're living your life in truth, if you're living your life in, saying what you mean and meaning what you say, without having to sugarcoat it, without having to hide it, just because people care more about that pearl clutching decorum, manners, caring about, having not walking on eggshells, caring about people's feelings, because, if you say what you actually mean, if you mean what you actually say, if you say what you actually want to say, if you say, you know the real opinions that you have, that people are going to, clutch their pearls and, like, you can't say it like that, oh my god, and people punish you for it. No, like, let them punish you for it. If it can be destroyed by the truth, it deserves to be destroyed by the truth. And it's okay to if you're living your life in truth, it's okay to be, quote unquote angry. To have the righteous anger is okay, and it's a necessity, because righteous anger is a weapon against evil. It's a weapon against wickedness, to have righteous anger. And so that is something that I've noticed is very evil and sinister about this reality, is punishing righteous anger, because righteous anger it's the most dangerous thing to evil. And so they gaslight you into thinking that being angry is bad, and that you have to, be this, sort of like emasculated, gay, so sort of, doormat that you see in, like, in all the ads that I see before YouTube videos. Like, it's like every guy is just like a doormat for all, like, the millennial women that are on, like, the ads. Like every guy is just like a doormat, and, like, they get stepped on by everyone else. And then that's what they want, men specifically to be. But they want everyone to be a doormat. But I've noticed that this is specifically how men are treated. Is that, like, they want men to be doormats, and one of the ways that they do that is they gaslight you to thinking that being angry is not okay. You're not allowed to be angry. You're not allowed to defend yourself in school fights. You're not allowed to defend yourself against bullies, because that's bad, and, like, and being angry is bad, and that means you're toxic. You're toxic masculinity, right? But fuck that. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to have righteous anger. It's okay to be angsty, or, quote unquote negative, in a realm full of lies and fakery, right? But yeah, that's the video.